In this video, I'm going to do the solutions for all 6 questions that were set for you for today's lesson. All 6 questions are past paper questions on simplifying algebraic fractions and expanding and simplifying brackets. Now, you don't need to watch all of this video. You're more than welcome to skip to whichever question or questions that you got a little bit stuck on or need a little bit of help with. Okay, this is question 1, and it's worth pointing out that this is a multiple choice question on your worksheet. But my printer stopped working, so I haven't written out all of the options for multiple choice, but I'll explain which of the options was correct. Okay, so I need to simplify this algebraic fraction, and I think the only thing I can do at the moment is take out a common factor of 3 from the denominator, or the bottom of the fraction. So when I do that, the top of the fraction stays as 3x squared. And the bottom, I'm going to take out 3 as a common factor. And then what do I need to multiply 3 by to get 6x squared? Well, I need to do 3 times 2, which will give me 6. And I also need to multiply by x squared. Plus, I keep my plus sign the same. 3 times what gives me 3? Well, 3 times 1 gives me 3. So I've factorised the denominator to 3, open bracket, 2x squared plus 1. Now I can do a bit of cancelling here because I've got a 3 on top and a 3 on the bottom. And 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So these 3's cancel each other out. So I'm just going to draw a line through those 3's. And that will leave me with x squared on the top of my fraction. And 2x squared plus 1 on the bottom. And that is one of the options. Multiple choice option. So that is my answer for question 1. Question 2 asks me to simplify 9a squared minus b squared over 3a minus b. Okay, now I can factorise the top of this fraction. I can't take anything out that's in both the first and second term, because at my first term I've got a number and I've got some a's, and in my second term I've only got b's, so there's nothing that's the same that I can take out. But I know that this numerator, or the top of this fraction, is going to factorise. So I need to put 9a squared minus b squared into 2 brackets, double brackets. And I know that when I multiply the first 2 terms, I'm hoping to get 9a squared. So what 2 things multiply to make 9, or what 2 numbers multiply to make 9? Well, 3 and 3. And what 2 letters multiply to make a squared? Well, I need 1a here and 1a in this bracket. So when I do 3a times 3a, I'm going to get 9a squared. And on the right hand side of these brackets, the second term in each of these brackets, I want to multiply to make minus b squared. So let's just think of the b squared at the moment. If I need 1 term here and 1 term here, so 2 things that multiply to make b squared, what do they need to be? Well, b and b. When I do b times b, I'm going to get b squared. But I need it to be a minus. So I need to think now what signs go in my 2 brackets here, that when I times this b and this b, I'm going to get a minus b squared. So for argument's sake, let's say I did a plus and a plus. I'm going to get plus b squared at the end. Or if I did minus b times minus b, 2 negatives make a positive, so I'm also going to get a positive b squared. So what I think I need is 1 positive, 1 plus and 1 minus or negative, because when I multiply plus b and minus b, I'm going to get minus b squared. Now the nice thing about these double brackets is that because I've got the same things in each, 3a and a b and 3a and a b, but 1 is plus and 1 is minus, that means there's going to be a bit of cancelling going on. So let's just expand these 2 brackets here. So 3a times 3a is 9a squared. I've got 3a times minus b would be minus 3ab. b times 3a will be plus 3ab. And then I've got my plus b times minus b is minus b squared, which we just talked about. Now a little bit of cancelling. I've got minus 3ab plus 3ab. Or you might have done it the other way around, where you've got 3ab minus 3ab. So they're going to cancel there. So that leaves me with 9a squared minus b squared, which is what I wanted. If I expand these two brackets here, I get 9a squared minus b squared. So in other words, I could write 9a squared minus b squared as these two brackets. So I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to write 9a squared minus b squared as 3a plus b, 3a minus b, and in my fraction that's going to be all over 3a minus b. Okay, now I've got something in my fraction now that I can cancel. I've got something that's the same on the top and the bottom, which is 3a minus b. I've got 3a minus b there, and I've got 3a minus b there. Anything divided by itself is going to be 1. So if I did 3a minus b divided by 3a minus b, that's going to equal 1. So they're going to cancel. So my final answer, my final simplified fraction, is just what's left, which is 3a plus b. And that is my answer for question 2. Okay, 3a. Expand and simplify. Now this one's quite nice, so I'm going to try and get through this nice and quickly. So expand the first bracket here. I've got 4 times x is 4x. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. Minus 2 times 3 is 6. And then I should have said minus 2 times 3 is minus 6. And minus 2 times minus 5x, well, 2 minuses or 2 negatives make a positive. 2 times 5 is 10, and then x as well. So that's the expanded brackets, but now I need to simplify. So let's look at my x's first of all. I've got 4x plus 10x, so 14x. And minus 8 minus 6 is minus 14. So this is my final answer. Or if you'd wanted to, you could take the 14 out as a common factor, open up a bracket and go x minus 1. This is also absolutely fine. Either of these two answers are correct and would have got you the full marks. Okay, 3b. Simplify fully 8a squared plus 10ab all over 12a plus 15b. Okay, with this I can take out some common factors. So what number goes into 8 and 10? If we're just looking at the top of my fraction first, well, 2 goes into both of those numbers. Here I've got an a squared, and over here I've got an ab. So all I can take out is one of the a's, because that's in both. Open bracket. 2a times what gives me 8a squared? Well, 2 times 4 gives me 8, and a times a gives me a squared. Keep the plus. 2a times what gives me 10ab? Well, 2 times 5 gives me 10, and I need to also multiply it by a b to get 10ab. Okay. Now I need to factorise the bottom of my fraction. So what can I take out? What number can I take out of 12 and 15? Well, 3 goes into both of those. And I can't take out any letters because I've only got an a here and a b here. There's nothing that's the same in both. So I'm going to open my brackets. Now 3 times what gives me 12a? That's going to be 3 times 4 is 12, and I need to keep the a. So that's 12a. Keep the sign the same, plus. Now 3 times what gives me 15b? Well, 3 times 5 is 15, and I need to also multiply by b. So hopefully you've spotted that there's something the same on the top and the bottom of my fraction. And if I divide 4a plus 5b by 4a plus 5b. If I divide something by itself, I'm going to get 1. So these are going to cancel, and that leaves me with 2a over 3, which is my final answer for 3b. Okay, question 4. Expand and simplify triple brackets. Now it doesn't matter which order I do this in, but I need to expand 2 of the brackets first, simplify what I can, and then multiply by the 3rd bracket. Now I'm going to do this question in the order that it's given to me here. So I'm going to expand these 2 brackets first, which will give me, well, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times minus 5 is minus 10x. 5 times 2x is plus 10x. And plus 5 times minus 5 is minus 25. Now, to show really clear workings with these types of questions, I like to put all of that in a bracket and keep the one that I'm yet to multiply by in a bracket next to it. So this shows me that I'm understanding, and I know that I still need to multiply all of this by the 3rd bracket that I haven't done yet. But first, before I do that, I'm going to simplify the thing that I've just expanded. So minus 10x plus 10x is going to be 0. Or I could have said 10x minus 10x is 0. So these are going to cancel here, which will leave me with 4x squared minus 25 for this bracket. But I still need to multiply by the thing, or the bracket on its on the right hand side here, which is 3x plus 7. And now I've just got a set of double brackets which I can expand. So 4x squared times 3x. Well, 4 times 3 is 12, and x squared times x is x cubed. 4x squared times 7 will be, well, 4 times 7 is 28, and then I keep the x squared as it is. Minus 25 times 3x will be minus 75x, and minus 25 times 7 will be minus 175. Now, I can't simplify anymore here because each of my terms, I've got 4 terms, 12x cubed, 28x squared, minus 75x, and minus 175. There are none of these terms have the same number of x's. They're all different. This is an x cubed, this is an x squared, this is an x, and this is a number or a constant. So I can't simplify anything else, and therefore that is my answer for question 4. Now question 5 is definitely the hardest question, or I think it's the hardest question in today's lesson, today's worksheets. It's expanding triple brackets again, but there are going to be a lot of x's, a lot of y's, a lot of x squareds, a lot of y squareds, etc. So a little bit tricky. Now, I can rewrite this 2x plus 3y squared as 2 brackets that are the same. So I'm going to do that to start off with. 2x plus 3y, 2x plus 3y. So this 2x plus 3y squared is just this bracket times by itself. We're squaring it, so we're timesing it by itself. Now I think, and I'm not really sure why I want to do this, but I want to do these 2 first for some reason in this question. I want to expand these 2 brackets first. This isn't particularly, necessarily the only, well, it's definitely not the only way you can do this. If I wanted to times these 2 brackets first, that would have been fine. But for some reason, I'm inclined to multiply or expand these brackets first. So I'm going to do that. What that means is I just need to keep that x minus 4 there, waiting for me to expand a little bit later on. Okay. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 3y is 6xy. 2 times 3 is 6. X times y is just xy. plus 3y times 2x. Well, 3 times 2 is 6 again. Y times x is yx, or I could say x, y. Doesn't matter what order the letters come in. Plus 3y times 3y, 3 times 3 is 9, and y times y is y squared. Okay, a little bit of simplifying I can do here. So I'm going to keep this x minus 4 as it is, and I'm going to keep 4x squared as it is, but this is the bit I can simplify. I've got 6xy and another 6xy. So if I add those together, how many xy's do I have? I've got 12. So 12xy in the middle plus 9y squared. Okay. Now this is going to be the final expansion, and I need to multiply both of these terms, the x and the minus 4, by all three of the things in this bracket here. So I'm going to start off with multiplying the x by everything in this bracket. So x times 4x squared will be 4x cubed. X times 12xy will be 12. X times x is x squared. And then I need to not forget the y. And then I've got x times 9y squared. So I keep the 9 as it is. Now I'm going to put the x in there and y squared. And I'm going to do that because I like having my letters in order. I like having x's before y's. But if I'd put y squared x, that would have been absolutely fine as well. Okay. And now I need to multiply the minus 4 by these three terms. So minus 4 times 4x squared would be minus 16x squared. Minus 4 times 12xy is minus 48xy. I'm going to run out of room, but minus 4 times 9y squared will be minus 36y squared. Hopefully you can see that okay. I've run out of room a little bit. And now I can simplify. So I just need to collect together the terms that are the same. Have I got any terms that are the same? I don't think I have. I've got an x cubed. I've got an x squared. I've got an x squared y and an xy squared. Okay, so this is going to be easier than I thought. All of these 6 terms have something different after the number. So let me just underline each one. I've got an x squared. I've got an x... I've got an x cubed. I've got an x squared. I've got an x squared y, which is different to a xy squared. I've got an xy, and I've also got a y squared. I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but I've underlined each of these terms in different colours, just to show that they're all different terms. None of these are the same. So that means that this is going to be my final answer for question 5. And that leads me on to question 6, which is the last question on, or for today's lesson. And I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker, hopefully, than the last one, because this is a little bit more straightforward. Expand double brackets. So 3x squared times 2x will be 6x cubed. 3x squared times 5 will be 15x squared. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times 5 is 10. Then we've got minus 6x times x squared, which will give me minus 6x cubed. And minus 6x times minus 3. A minus times a minus will make a positive. So plus 6 times 3 is 18x. But I definitely can do some simplifying here. So let's look at my x cubed first. I've got 6x cubed minus 6x cubed. So that's going to cancel. I've got an x squared term, but I've only got one x squared term, so that's 15x squared is going to stay as it is. 4x plus 18x, these are my x terms here. So 4 plus 18 will be plus 22x. And the number that's on its own will be plus 10. So my answer is 15x squared plus 22x plus 10. Now that was the solutions for all 6 questions for today's lesson. Remember to upload a picture of your work and to let your teacher know if you have any more questions.